Hello everybody, and thanks for joining us again here on Monday for another craft along with me, Simon Williamson from AVAGO-INK Designs. I can see lots of you already on the comments already, so it's nice that you joined us. I think I saw somebody's having a lovely sunny day in Devon as well, so I think we should go down for a crafty retreat down there when we can. But yeah, thanks for joining us, and hope you've got a drink ready. We're going to do two projects today, both really focusing on just making a vibrant background an easy way. So the first card we're going to do is this one here. And I'm going to show you how to do this. I brought the dinosaurs back as well. I thought, what should we follow fluffy Easter things with? And I thought, dinosaurs, that's a natural progression for us all, isn't it? But I'm going to do a nice background using all the little stamps that you get in the kits to show you I can do a lovely distressed blended background. So let's get started. Hello, Selma. Hello, Irene. There's loads of hellos going on. They're a bit delayed sometimes, so I'm sorry if I don't catch them straight away. Right, so I've started off, first of all, to make it easier on me, just because I've got a smaller paper trimmer, I've actually penciled in a line of where we're going to be using for the card. I don't know whether you can pick that up on the overhead. So I've just penciled a line, so I know that that's where I'm going to be cutting, but I've got a little bit of an edge so I can go over with my stamps while I'm doing this, okay? I'm going to bring up my stamping platform. It's a really easy card this to do as well, and I'm sure you could do this with any stamp sets you've got. They've got them little bits in, them extras. We'll put that in that way. And I'll just bring in my sheet of stamps. I've got all these like little feet that you get with a dinosaur collection. I'm just going to put them all over. No particular pattern, I want them really random. Turn them right way up. Some of them look the same both ways. And I get all them on there. And I tend to do loads of these at the top half of the card, and then we can always swap the card around to the other way, and then we can mirror image it, make it a little bit faster than doing a longer job, especially when you may not have as many theme stamps like these little footprints. We just put all these on. Last one up there. Okay, I'm going to pick all those up. Where's Easter ears gone, Simon? Well, I thought, I've had 2 weeks of Easter and I thought you'd like a change. And I don't want to eat chocolate as well. I couldn't trust myself bringing chocolate in another week. But yeah, I thought dinosaurs would be a nice change for us all. So make sure them little stamps are all pressed down really well. And we'll lift that up. I'm going to use my embossing pad. Give them a good ink in. It's a really sticky ink this, so make sure you cover them. And then we're going to put that down, give that a nice press. Lift that up. I'm just going to put this piece of paper now the opposite way around. And then we can see if we need to move any of them stamps. So I can see that these three at the bottom I just need to take off because they're going to overlap. So let's just remove those three. Put that down. Here we go, I'm happy with that. And we'll just give that another ink in to make sure we've got enough of that sticky residue on there for his embossing powder. Good push down again. And I'm happy with that. So I'm going to take that out. I'm going to put that to one side a second. And I've got a piece of paper to put this on. Should have brought some coloured paper really, shouldn't I, for you? Sorry. But we'll go with some white embossing powder, so I tend to put it all towards the top. I always tip it all out as well. What I've got, put it all on there. So we're going to use very little of this anyway. And then just slowly just run it down. And it'll pick up on the ink of any of the others as it goes down. There we go, give that a little bit of tap. We've got some lovely footprints on there. Just just going to put the rest of this powder back in its container so I don't have an accident with this. I'm a little bit accident prone, I've got to say. That's that out of the way. Right, I'm just going to emboss this now. So you'll see more of this in the next step of this demonstration, but I'm just going to emboss these so I can get these footprints set in place. I always raise the card up a little bit as well, so I find it embosses a little bit faster, so I think the heat goes through it easier. So there we go. So what you all been up to today then? Anybody going out for a social distance walk now that we've got some new rules to abide by, haven't we? You can go to parks now and meet your friends. Last few to do. There we go, that's all done. So what does Elizabeth say? Simon, I made the chocolate order you did the other day before she ate the chocolate bar. I know, I've got to be honest. I bought 3 chocolate bars and for some reason one just disappeared. I don't know where it went, Elizabeth. But that's the, I think that's a plus point in it. If you use like the Cadbury ones, you know that you can easily replace it if you have to. You don't have to remake the whole card. Right. So I've embossed those footprints, which might be quite hard for you to see on there, but you'll definitely see them in the next step. So I'm just going to bring in some distress size. I've got your salty ocean colour, and I've got the mowed lawn colour. I like these, they're very vibrant. And I do tend to buy primary kind of colours when I do, like buy into my stash. Margaret says, late as usual. It don't matter, Margaret. It's nice for you to turn out. Okay, so using this blending brush from Tony's range, I like these because the sponge ones you've seen me use in the past sometimes leave a heavier mark. This is a lot softer blend because it picks up so little on the end. So as you can see, you can go in really smoothly, and it really is a light dusting it gives. I'm going to keep building that up. I want it darker at the top. I'm going to bring that down to like the middle point. So Elizabeth hasn't replaced the chocolate bar yet, but she's scared she'll eat that one as well. Well, maybe just need to put a small book in there instead then, something you can't eat. So I'm just going to rub that down a little bit, make it a bit softer. You can see we've got it darker at there, and it goes down paler as we go towards the middle section. I'm going to turn this around. I'm just going to wipe off the excess on the brush, which is very little. I'm going to swap to the mowed lawn green. We'll dip into that. And we'll start again. Same as we did before, light circular motions. And we'll build that colour back up. It gives you a really nice blend as well. And you can play around with colours, but sometimes the opposite colours look really good when they blend together. And then just over this centre line, just lightly bring it into that blue so you don't have any kind of lines. There we go. I'm going to move them out of the way a second. You can see now we've got a really nice blend between that blue and green, and you don't really have a join line in the centre. It kind of merges quite well. We have got a bit of ink residue on his embossing, so what I'm going to do is use a cloth, and I'm just going to rub over the top, and that'll just take that residue off and bring that white powder back up. Could all use a wet wipe as well, or something like that. But don't forget that the wet wipes will react with your distress oxides if they're on too long. There you go, and that's just brought them footprints up a little bit more. Then what I'm going to do now is, using them pencil lines that I drew on before we began, I'm just going to cut through those and cut this down to the size I require, using this little trimmer. If you haven't got one of these trimmers, I do suggest to get one. They're brilliant. I love how the wire just tells you where to cut. They're quite summery colours, aren't they, as well? Very spring. Let's put on there. Last cut. There we go. As you can see, we've got some nice footprints on there, and some are off the page and some are on the page. And that's what I'm saying. If you use a bigger page and put that pencil border in, you're not going to try and stamp everything within. It looks more handmade when they go on and off and you've cut it down. So that's that part. I'm now going to put this onto a black card blank, and this should fit really well. So I've already cut it down to size. So you see that? So I'm going to just secure it in the middle with a bit of tape pen. Don't need lots of glue on this. You'll see why in a second. There we go. I'm going to bring in my crocodile, which I'm sure a lot of crafters out there will have got one. I always tend not to use it though. It just gets put into the back of the cupboard. I'm going to put some brads in the corners. So let's put one into this corner. And into the top corner. Just open that out so it's a bit easy to get to. There we go. Just move them bits out of the way. And I brought some brads that go with the blenders. I'm going to put the green ones in the green section. Blue ones in the blue. Just to give a little bit more detail to them corners. And it's these kind of things that we buy and then we put them back of this cupboard into it. We don't use again. Put that one in. And then using this crocodile, we'll just squash them flat with a card. Just turn that around. Do the same again for the other side. So if you've never seen these before, when on the back of the card, you can see it sprays the metal out, and it makes it secure that way. I like that. You can cover it up if you wish to, but I think it just makes it look more handmade to leave them in place, if I'm honest. If you don't have like a brad system at your home, you could always use split pins. They're easy to get hold of. You could just split the pins at the back and just cover that over with a bit of card if you wanted to as well. So that's his background ready. So I'm going to put that to one side now. I'm going to bring in our stamping platform again. Oh, do you know what? I have made a mistake on that. Let me just... Let me just see if I can trim this down a second. I should have done another step before that, and I haven't brought a spare. So just give me 2 seconds. Let me see if we can lift this brad back up. I don't think I will be able to, but... Right, okay. What we'll do, I'll show you the step I've missed, because I can't actually take it off. I'm sorry about that. That's my fault. Got carried away. I'm just going to just deconstruct this card a little bit to show you what I did. So what I would have done next is I would have laid our sentiment across the card before I mounted it. And that would have cut out the thanks word. And then I was going to mat that onto some shiny blue and then reposition it back over the card like that. So what we'll do is I'll move that across to this new card so you can see it would have gone into the blue section up there. Okay, I'll leave that one, but you can just use it black as well, look. It looks just as effective. So that's my error, sorry about that, guys. Right, so on this bit, let's move these little feet out the way. So Margaret says, I think my crocodile has never come out of the box yet, had it for years, great idea. Do you know, it's such an underused piece of equipment, isn't it? They're really good for securing, you know, like if you've got those like little tag dies, you can put an eyelet through that, squash it flat and put some ribbon, it just gives it an extra finishing touch. Also really good for securing vellum as well onto your card. It's a nice way of doing it, especially with vellum, you always see the glue marks at the back. So it's quite a good way. So I chose a little dinosaur character. And we're going to do the same as before. We're going to emboss them in white powder. Put them onto there. Good push down. Lovely. Just bring in that white powder again. Just make sure we get him covered. Tip that off. I'm just going to put that powder back in its container. I'm sure we've all lost embossing powder, haven't we, when it's fallen everywhere. I think my carpet must have most of it in it, I tell you. Put that down there. I'm just going to quickly heat emboss this little character now. There we go. And I'm going to have my character at this lower half, so I don't want to be doing it in a green colour. I'm going to choose the opposite blue tone and bring in the Salty Ocean ink pad again. And I'm just going to simply just colour that blue. And don't worry about it staining the white again, because as we've seen, it rubs off really easily. Make it a nice blue cover. You could always do this in any colours, but I was just trying to make it opposite so it stood out a little bit more. And I'm just going to find my blue towel, give that a quick rub just to take that off the white area. There you go, makes him pop a bit more. I'm going to die cut our little friend out. Put that onto there. I'll just bring my die plates in. And here we go, we've got our dinosaur friend. As you can see, it gives you a really great way of getting the detail of your stamps, but you don't have to colour the whole thing in. You can see that pops really well. I'm going to put him onto some foam pads now to rise them up. I'm going to double them up actually so he stands really proud. Obviously you could make this as flat as you need to if you're posting it. And I'm going to put that down at the bottom. Move them off the side. And there you go. So I think I rescued that for you as best as possible. I think you could easily replicate that. We all make mistakes. I'm sure we've all been there. It's just a nice, bright card, easy to make, and it shows you how to use them like resist with the white embossing, and how you can blend over the top and make a lovely card. So I hope you enjoyed that first demonstration. What we'll do now is we'll just run some inspiration with the dinosaur collection, and I will see you in a couple of minutes for the next demo. So if you've got any questions as well, put them in the comments, so I will answer them. And if I miss it for any reason, just message me and I will answer them as well. So I will see you in a couple of minutes when you've seen this video. All right, see you in a second. And welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that video. Some lovely cards in there. I am proud of it. So it was like the first set that we actually launched at AVAGO. Thanks for joining us today anyway, like I said. If you haven't already, if you can hit the subscribe button on the actual YouTube channels, you will get notifications when we do go live. You can keep up to date with all the latest news. So it's a great idea to do. If you think there's somebody out there that you think would enjoy watching us demonstrations on a Monday, just ask them to come in and watch. They don't have to, put comments. It's just nice for them to have the inspiration into it and see what they can do. Right, so let's move on to a second demonstration then. So Patricia says, I'm a bit late today, Simon. Oh, it don't matter, Patricia, welcome. You're ready for the second card anyway. You can always get the other one back on replay on the YouTube. So I've got this as our second demonstration, which is a very sparkly card with lots of texture in there. And you can see, I'm going to show you how to use your stencils to emboss with. Very effective. It's a bit girly, this card. Whether you want to send a girl, happy birthday, your old dinosaur, I'm not sure, but the sentiment I thought really went well, so I went with it. So let's start making this card. I'll show you how to do this. So same as before, I penciled out my area that I'm going to be actually stenciling, just so it's easy for me to do. And I've got my stencil here. I'm going to lay this where I want to put it on this piece of card. So I think, actually, I'll do it the other way around. There's a little bit more detail down here that I like. I'm just going to mask that into place. Bit of tape. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to use this embossing ink pad, and we're going to press straight through this onto the cardstock. Now it will get very sticky, so I would suggest in a normal situation just having a bowl of water outside of your stencil, with a little bit of soap in there like fairy liquid, and just let it straight in there to soak, and it'll come off really easy. I've cleaned this one and there's no residue left on it, but I know what it's like as crafters. We do it, we put it to one side, and we don't want to ruin this product, so just bear in mind it's a stickier ink than normal, so you might want to clean it as you go before you move on to the next steps. Okay, so we're going to use this pad. I'm just going to press down, make sure, pressing really well through that stencil image, and giving it a really good press everywhere. to make sure we get a good image on this. Okay, happy with that. I'm going to lift my stencil off. And then for this one, I'm going to use the Thirsty Brush embossing powder. So I brought mint and coral red, and I love these containers because they've got like little holes that you can see that in the top. You can control how fast they come out. So you know, like with the white powder on the previous demo, I had to tip the whole thing out. With this one, you could be a little bit more conservative. So I'm going to put a little bit down here, put a bit of green here, a bit down here, and a bit of red over there. And don't worry if you don't catch all the areas, because what we're going to do is I'm just going to shake this side to side as it goes. And you can move it around. Make sure we get all them areas nice. And if you do miss any areas, it really don't matter because nobody's going to know. I'm going to tap that off. And look at that, I've got a lovely mix of embossing powders now going on. You've got that like red merge into the green. It just gives it a bit of detail. Quite often when we emboss, we do it in one solid colour, don't we? I'm just going to move that to one side because I might need that in a second. I'm just going to give this an emboss. So I love watching embossing powder change. It's so relaxing, I've got to say. Just to this bit. Nearly there. There you go. Takes a little bit longer to do, obviously, and I don't want to miss any bits, but can you see how that just gives a really iridescent kind of lustre to it with all that sparkle in there? Really good powders, them. If you haven't already got them, it might be worth investing in some sparkly embossing powders. And I'm just going to trim this down like I did with the other one. So where my pencil line is, just to make it a little bit speedier, I've already drawn them on. And trim that down there. At home, I normally have a bigger trimmer, you see, so as I bring this one, I wanted to make sure I could get it all in. There we go. Get rid of those little bits. We've got a lovely background there. I'm going to put that to one side just for a second. And now I'm going to bring in my stamping platform again. I've got a little scrapper. I'm using watercolour card actually just for a bit more thickness to it. I'm going to bring in our sentiment that we're going to be using, which is the Happy Birthday You Old Dinosaur one. And I've got our little dinosaur that's running away, because I think it's such a cute character, this one. So we'll get them put down. I'm going to use the embossing powder again on these. Give that a quick rub so I can see it's a bit sticky. So a good coating of the embossing ink. Good push down, make sure we get that stamped image right. That looks perfect. And then if I just pick this up, we've got all that embossing powder from the last background. So I'm just going to pour this back on. Then if it's like there's not a lot of green, so I'm just going to put a bit more green on this bit and a bit up there, just to top it up. Give that a good rub around like the other one, just to make sure we get all the areas covered. Give that a tap off. Whoop. Tap that off. And that's worked really well. I do like glitter, but it does go everywhere, doesn't it? And then this powder, even though it's mixed, I always keep this anyway, because even though it's not going to be one colour, it'll be really interesting to use. So just for now, I'll just fold that into an envelope so I can put it at home in my tub. Move this down. I'm going to die cut our little friend up here out. Just get my scissors. I'm just going to cut the sentiment off. Because we don't want to die cut that, let's put that to one side. And I'll get my die plates. We'll just pop that through. Just bring some bits back in ready. So Vivian says she loves the stencil, used it a couple of times. I know it's just such a nice stencil, isn't it? It goes with so many things. I think it's really good for like teenagers and males as well, because you could really go to town with the colours that you use with it, make it very versatile. So stamped out as little friend here, and it's all glitter embossed. And then what I'm going to do is mount him onto some blacks. We just pops around the edge. I'll save a little bit of time today. I've already mounted his main character, you can see. We've got him ready with a black border, and it just makes him pop a little bit rather than having no border. So that's him ready. And I'm just going to mount this now. So we're going to trim this down a little bit. Make sure. Go that bit. I'll use my tape runner for speed. Obviously, you could use your wet glue, whatever you prefer when you get home. Just melt that onto a bit of black. I'm going to give it the same kind of border thickness as we've got around the dinosaur, then it kind of puts them together then. We're just going to... There you go. We've got a sentiment, we've got his character. Right, so now we're ready to build and then construct this card. So, some of these bits I've pre-chopped just so you don't want to see me cut card all the time. So I've got some nice glitter card here that's graduated, so it goes through the colours of what we're already using. I'm going to just put this straight onto my card blank with a little bit of a black border just to keep that theme going. And we'll have purple towards the top, I think. That's that. And then I brought a little black mount for our emboss panel that we've just done using this stencil. I'm going to glue that down. So because it's on slightly thicker cardstock, I'd probably just run a bit of glue down that as well. So I'm just going to grab my wet glue just to make sure it grabs. Let's pop that into its mount. That's it, give that a good press down. Okay, so now you've got to decide which way up you want it. So you can have either with a circle at the top or these details at the bottom. I'm going to go for these at the bottom just because some of this area is going to be covered up with the next step. Okay, I'm going to bring back in my crocodile. Just make sure I get the right size hole. So I want to put 2 holes up here, and I want to put matching 2 holes at this side as well. So let's put one there, one there. And it really doesn't matter if they're slightly off, because you'll see in a minute, it's just a different way of putting a ribbon onto a card. Get them out of the way. So we've got as holes. I've brought a few more brads. So we'll have a pinky one and a green one. We'll just push them down. So I can see a lot of people have said that they've had crocodiles and brads that they don't use. So maybe you should make it your aim to try and use them this week on a project that you're doing at home. Being quite good for you, wouldn't it? I'll just get another green one. There you go. So you can see I've put my eyelets straight across each other like that. I've done them diagonally, and that'll become apparent in a second, but I'm going to use them for my ribbon this way. Just move some of this off. Right, so I've got 2 pieces of ribbon. I've tried to get as close a match to the embossing powder as possible. I've got a nice piece of teal and a nice bit of pink. I'm going to simply thread the blue to the blue eyelet and then cross over to the other one, so it's a little bit of a diagonal. Can't get through. Just hold it up a second. Patricia says, one of my problems is I do a lovely background and I can't bring myself to cover it up. I know. I've got to say, I do feel your pain on that one. I mean, like this could easily be framed in a modern picture frame, couldn't it? Just like with all them colours and that texture and that glitter. It'd look lovely. I always, though, if I'm unsure what to do, is I do all the sentiments and the images separately, and then can lay them on top and see if it's what I want to do with it before I glue them down. And that way you're not committing. Right, so I've put them through, and all I want to do is we're going to tie a bow across this now. So I'm just going to take it around to me a little bit so it's easier. And I've done these ribbons crossed so that you get to see a good proportion of both colours. You're lucky, you know, so I'm not really good at tying bows. I'm just pull them in a little bit, make it a bit tighter. I'm quite happy with that. You can separate your loops so you get your teal and your pink. I'm just going to bring in my small scissors, and we're going to just tail these ribbons off a little bit. So we'll fold them in half and then cut outwards. Just give them a nice edge. I'll do the same with these other 2 bits. There you go. You can see already that that's just given a bit of impact with that ribbon. And because we use 2 colours, it just picks up with all this embossing that we're doing as well. Right, so let's get this mounted onto this card blank then. Just trying to read your comments, they're going too fast today. I don't think I've missed any questions though. But if I have, obviously drop me a message, I'll be happy to help you. So plenty of foam pads on the back of this, because I want to make sure it rows off my card blank. few more. Right, let's get them peeled off. Loving the ribbon idea. Oh, thanks, Sarah. I think it'd be nice as well if you got a thinner ribbon to do it all the way down and like shoes across all the way down. I think it could be quite dramatic. Let's get that onto our card blank that we've just matted. And that a good push down. Get some more foam pads. So we've got our sentiment and we've got our little fellow that's running in. So we can choose where to put these. I think I'm actually going to do this a little bit off centre on this card, just because I don't want to ruin all these lovely details we've got on his background that we've created. I'm going to put this there. And then we'll just get some on the back of our friendly dinosaur. Let's move that to that side. And we'll have him running in up there, look. And that's your second card. So as you can see, it's just a really good way using your stencils other than just inking through. I'll just bring in the other one that we did earlier. So that's two really quick cards that we've done. Both just making effects of like one using stencils and then little tiny stamps that you get with your collections. They can be such a bigger part of the card when you put them together. So I hope you enjoyed those two cards today. I think, those two ideas, you've got more of a masculine card and you've got more of a feminine card there. And you could easily dot them to any occasion. And I'm sure you could do them with whatever stamps you've got in your collection. But it's just a good way of using your embossing powders and your stencils, isn't it? I think it is. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us today. There's loads of activity on your comments. I'll have to have a read back afterwards, see if I've missed any comments. But I'm glad you enjoyed that. And I hope you can join me next Monday. But that's it from me today. We'll see you next week. See you later. Bye.